Go Tigers. 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 Go Tigers.
Harrison Ford!
Also, her er mit Harrison Ford.
Locked out. Even I can't get past the security.
Gerry!
Hi, Ben.
Hi, George.
How's it going?
It's going all right.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, fantastic.
There's the Rickmeister.
I am hooked. Binge watching The Mandalorian. Oh my God.
Easy with that.
Unbelievable. It's on Disney. Check it out for yourself. I actually think it's better than the Star Wars movies. Just great.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas from Kiss.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Feliz Navidad from Kiss.
Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from Kiss.
Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas from Kiss.
Hola!
Hola! Hola!
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
What's going on, Bombad fam? That's right. You know who it is. You know what time it is. Look at this. The set is ready. We're here to hang out. It's always going to be Bombad when I'm around. And you know what? For a minute, I may be the only one around. Gerry is on sabbatical. I actually don't know what that term means. And I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I was just thinking of that line from No Way Home where it was like, he's on sabbatical, honey. However the Green Goblin says it. Let's see who's in the comments. I haven't even looked yet. Look at all these people. Man, look at this. Michael, it's going to surprise you. It's going to be me and Eric Kotteman. Gerry's on sabbatical, honey. Yes, I've got the colorful jacket on. My students often criticize me for this. I don't know why. I think I look damn cool. Anyway, for anyone that does not know, obviously you're listening to the Bombadcast. This is the main show. This is not our logo, but this is. Sorry. You are watching the Bombadcast live right now every Thursday. You got me and Gerry here to talk about all things Bombad. Oh my God. Next week is the finale of the book of Bombad. Then we have to actually start making real content again. What? That's not possible. All the content y'all need is right here.
Everywhere around the world, we try to tell people there are no borders, there are no prime ministers, there are no presidents. There's only one nation. That's Kiss Nation. There's only one rock and roll national anthem. Rock and roll all night, party every day.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the energy we are going to bring every Thursday. Obviously, without Gerry here, I'll do my best today. That being said, let's talk about Gerry's show. What the hell is this? This is Hyperfocus. I think Hyperfocus might also be on a sabbatical, honey. I don't know, actually. I still don't know what sabbatical means. Hey, Google, what's sabbatical? Here we go.
Wikipedia, a sabbatical is a rest or break from work.
A rest?
The concept of the sabbatical is based on the biblical practice of Shemitah, which is related to agriculture.
Shemitah.
According to Leviticus chapter 25,
Oh my
Jews
God.
in the land of Israel
Can you hear this?
take a year-long break from working the fields every 7 years.
A year-long break. Okay, imagine if you had that opportunity. You work for 7 years straight. No, like barely a break. And then you have 1 year off. That's not bad. I would do it. Anyway, Jerry's on sabbatical, honey. We've also got every Wednesday, Bombad Gaming. I've missed the past 2 Wednesdays. I need to apologize to all the listeners here. I'm sorry I've missed the last 2 Wednesdays of Bombad Gaming. It's been a lot. Boba Fett's actually quite overwhelmed me these past 2 weeks in the best way possible. Overwhelming things is sometimes good. But yeah, it'll be back. It'll make its return. But we're not here to talk about Bombadcast, though it is part of it, right? It is part of the experience. Let's see who's in the comments. Let's see. Well. Alex Klump makes his great return. William says, boo, educational. That much energy every Thursday, you say? Come on now. Jerry's been arrested. He's on sabbatical, honey. But all that being said, you know what time it is. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the newest episode of the Book of Luke and Grogu. Where you at, Tim?
Kia ora, welcome to the Tim Show. I'm Tim Witter Morrison. Now, each week I invite a couple of buddies over to have a bit of a kōrero. We have a bit of a sing-song, and I show them some of my postcards from Hollywood. Ooh, and they're looking pretty flash too. I visit the whānau in New Zealand and around the globe, and I even score some A-listers. Now, this week we've got a Tim Show special, Episode 3, Involvement of the Kiwis. I'm talking Star Wars. We find out how they make us clones. And I catch up with Rena Owen and talk to the producer, Rick McCullum, and talk to the big guy, George Lucas. So, lightsabers on!
Wow. How cool is that? Welcome to the Bombadcast. This week's episode was unbelievable. Now, obviously, there's some things we're going to break down, some themes we're going to look at. My buddy Eric is going to join us real soon. For those that don't know Eric, he's one of the greatest. I honestly think I might have a picture of him on here. Let's see. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. Doesn't look likely. This is what Eric's going to look like. Guaranteed. No questions there. I have a picture of what Eric wants to look like. That's right. There he is. My boy Michael. I love that guy. But in all seriousness, this episode was absolutely fantastic. And I mean that. There was so many things I loved about it. Obviously, everyone has their own opinion. But one thing I kind of want to set straight, at least to me personally, right? One of the big things is that obviously the controversy we've seen, or I've seen on my social spaces, and just in general, is this does not match the title of the show, The Book of Boba Fett. Well, I can see that argument, and I find it completely valid. You're entitled to those feelings. It seems that the trailer promised us a lot of cool things with Boba Fett, but it was nothing past that 5th chapter. I guess that 4th chapter, really. No, yeah, 4th. And I mean, you know, sometimes you got to take what people give you. And the creators know what they're doing. Obviously, I saw some pretty bad takes recently in terms of they don't know what they're doing. This show has no plan, or not even just that. It's just this show's all over the place. And for the most part, I would say they're not wrong. But it's not always going to be the story that must connect. There's a thing called theme and thematic analysis, which Bombad tends to do every now and then. We've got really, really good people like Force Center and even Alex Damon from Star Wars Explained and a bunch of other podcasts in this space that really do a really amazing job with taking the themes in and doing more of a thematic analysis. But the big idea behind the name Book of Boba Fett obviously comes down to the fact that I can see why people are frustrated. We didn't get Boba Fett the last 2 episodes. He didn't say a line, but let's be real here. That is exactly like Boba Fett would be before the Sarlacc fall. But the show has taught me a lot about trauma and a lot about changing yourself and the concept of choice, which is very interesting. And I think I can understand that there is some frustration there in that way. But in particular, the big ideas and the big themes are all still there. You know, we've got Boba Fett who is reborn, and you can see that he is changing. Things about him is changing. He has become a new person. He has been exposed to new life with the Tusken Raiders. He has learned a lot of things about himself that I guess he never expected. The same could be said for Din Djarin. Din Djarin was thrown into a world where he thought everything about, being a Mandalorian was there. And apparently that is just not the case. For just taking his helmet off for a moment, for a very important reason, to have a connection with another organism, obviously, with Grogu, and even to save Grogu at one point, he took his helmet off, which is against his creed, and his own faith and religion denied him as well. So you've got this idea of being cast out, right? Boba Fett thrown into the Sarlacc pit. We even have not just Boba Fett, we've got Din being denied, and now we've got Grogu. Grogu is being denied, his, I guess, maternal figure, which is understandable, but it's all about trauma, right? And if you look back, Sarlacc pit was trauma. A lot of what Din went through is trauma, considering religious denial, big themes right there. Another really big thing with Grogu is the fact that he had to experience Order 66. That was a dark time for him. And we don't know what happens next after that huge cutscene. But I will say that was an amazing moment. And we've got these characters dealing with new things, right? Dealing with big ideas. Obviously, there's a bunch of books. And a student came up to me, I'm not going to say their name, but a student came up to me and says, I don't like it. It's not about Boba Fett. And they're completely entitled to that opinion. But the big idea was talking about how, and I made a comparison to The Giver. I said, who's The Giver about? And he said, Jonas. I said, that makes sense. But what is it ultimately about? Like, what is the theme of the story? We talked about The Giver, and I kind of wanted him to leave with this idea that, it's not always just going to be, that character is the story. Okay, that's what the story is about. No, it's always about the bigger idea, the themes beyond all this. Let me get this fan going. I'm a little hot. So, the reason I say all of that is because this show has subverted my expectations in the best possible way. I, at no point at all, thought we were going to ever get our wonderful friend Luke Skywalker. That was not on my radar in any way, shape, or form. And I'm very happy we did. The Disney Plus page set that up very well with showing the Grogu thing. I'm like, we'll get Baby Yoda, guaranteed. But that instant shot, I'm going to send some pictures to myself to make sure I load them up here. That shot we got instantly of Grogu was just the most surprising thing ever. And I mean that. Like, I was absolutely blown away by just Luke sitting there, big chilling. That was wild. Password apparently is wrong. There we go. Got the right time. Let me get some pictures uploaded. I want to show y'all a few things just from the episode itself. Everyone's having a good night, by the way. It's kind of interesting. Never done this one by myself. Bombadcast is usually a duo, but this evening that might not just be the case, which is fine. We are working around it. Let me get a Google Doc made. Google Slides. There we go. Let's do a bunch of blank slides. I got a bunch of pictures on my phone that I'm going to send over that we can talk about and focus on for a minute here. But this whole concept, this whole episode was huge for me. As an educator, I saw so much more than I ever expected out of Star Wars, especially with the ideas put in place of Luke having to be a new teacher. And that was one of those things that I really connected with on a very deep personal level that I didn't think I'd connect with at all. And it took me a little bit to register. And I would say this is the most important episode. I want for Eric to get up here to kind of give his speech on that one. But we talked about it, in every way. In every way. Look at this. Look at Michael. Michael, I might hit you up in a moment. In every way, this show just kind of taught me something about myself I didn't realize. Luke being a new teacher, even have big themes of him using what Yoda had taught him, right? I mean, that's nuts. We got to see something that we've never seen before in Star Wars, which is like the same exact ideas and concepts being pushed to that next level. I just didn't know. Obviously, the Book of Fett would do that. Book of Boba Fett would do that, but it's evident that it's something we all needed. This character, Din Djarin, has to experience this. I have to experience this as a Star Wars fan. Let me get these things sent over. I have over 100 photos from this episode saved to my phone. That's unbelievable. What the hell is wrong with me? Okay, cool. All right, let me get all this put somewhere. Google Drive. Let's see. Look, okay. Yes. Michael, I wrote a whole Twitter thread that I had no idea how I wanted to type it out or figure out what I wanted to do with it. It was a kind of a struggle, to be completely honest with you. I was thinking what Bombad picks. There we go. I was thinking, how should I phrase this? Like, what's the best way to kind of like approach these ideas? And I really couldn't find a good way to articulate exactly what I wanted with it. But I can still say this much. This episode really was eye-opening for me personally as an educator. And I really liked what it did. The master apprentice approach to the storytelling was unbelievable. Let me get this stuff shared real quick. I hope there's no inappropriate photos in here that I accidentally sent. So we're going to use this more as a template, more as a guide to what we're talking about. Let me get it pulled up. There we go. All right, let me get this screen shared. And should be able to move right through it. Chrome tab, Bombad picks. There we go. Can you all see this? Yes, we can see this. Excellent. Let's see what looks better. No, obviously not that. This is pretty good. All right, let's roll through these. This moment was absolutely shocking to me personally. Look how incredible that CG looks. Are you kidding me? The deep fake is absolutely next level. Completely unexpected for me. It was good. And even the voice was good. You can tell the voice now that I listen to it is a little synthesized, right? And of course, we had this insane reveal of Cad Bane. Look at this. Yes, and I actually have that right there. Parallel TV where he hits. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that one. That Order 66 footage was insane. Yeah, that was huge for me too, Michael. That was one of those moments where I didn't realize that we were going to even go down that route. I mean, it was set up with the Ahsoka episode, which Dave also directed and wrote. I just didn't think we were going to go that quickly. And look at this. Rosario Dawson's in a beautiful Ahsoka. Absolutely perfect. When she popped up, that's when I freaked out. And Eric may even have the reaction video. We can actually watch that live. I don't know. We'll see. But my reaction was very vocal. I'm sure as you could imagine. I like bit the pillow, I was screaming into it. I was trying not to scare Katie. And we now have a scene with them two together. Unbelievable. I think I have a shot of that somewhere in here. Oh my God. Now this is actually where I lost my mind. And I mean that. This was the moment I was like, this can't be real life. I cried right here because of the implication of this. You're tying in prequels, you're tying in OT, you're tying in the idea that maybe he went back to Yoda's hut and looked through some stuff, or maybe even Yoda gave this to him at some point. We just don't know. That was incredible. That was inspiring. And look at this. Who would have ever thought we'd get this shot? Number one. And it appears that Luke could seriously come back for this. Like, he's not just there for this one episode. I have a gut feeling we're going to get a lot more of Luke just from this one shot alone. You don't spend all that time on making a new costume and looking at a new character and giving them one shot. He could show up in Ahsoka. He could show up in a ton of stuff. And the idea, by the way, of symbiotic relationships, right? We've got droids actually helping build this structure, which was just absolutely shocking to me. I thought it was someone lifting the Force Rock originally, obviously, and that's kind of how it was like a bait and switch. And I think my buddy's here. May try to wipe off your webcam real quick, Eric. It looks a little fuzzy from me. I don't know. It might be me though. Well, let me see. Oh, I'm gonna quote. Do a couple more times. I'm gonna quote Rick McCallum right here. Oh, he's gonna be back in a second. Much better. Okay, that looks good. All right, let's see. Should we bring him in, people? Eric, we're just looking at footage. Everyone, Eric Kotteman. Look at this. There he is. How do you sound?
Test. Joe Burrow.
Wow.
Guys, did you know Joe Burrow is a huge Phantom Menace fan?
Yes, I saw that recently. That's nuts.
We stan a TPM fan.
Yes, we do. It was incredible. It was shocking. I was blown away by the fact that he was like putting those quotes out on ESPN and stuff. That was nuts.
It's crazy.
That was nuts. I didn't.
There's a reason he's the best.
Yep. Look at this. Look at your legacy. This is actually incredible. Oh, this is incredible. We just
Look,
got
everybody.
four viewers just because you showed up.
I have the mother approving icy.
There it is.
Looks like I just came from Burning Man.
Yes, look at that. What was that on their cups? Like, why is that on AMC's cups right now?
I don't know.
What the hell
Peace
is
tea.
that?
Peace sweet tea.
They're doing peace tea there. Wow.
I guess. So
peace tea's good. Anyway, we just saw Jackass Forever in theaters. That was good. I really enjoyed that. Did you?
Yes, I'm hurting, but yes.
Yeah. For y'all that haven't seen it or will go see it, it's worth a watch. It actually truly made me belly laugh, and it's been a while since I've done that in the theater. Like, I haven't seen that many comedies recently. Eric and I talked about Free Guy was the last one we saw, and I can tell you this much, Eric. This episode of Boba Fett was not a comedy, was it?
No,
not really. It was amazing. No. So we were just looking at pictures and stuff, and what's your overall impression of all this, Eric? Obviously not the photo, but this whole episode. We had talked about off air that it was very important, but I want to hear your take before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of what happened here.
Yeah, no, I mean, the days leading up to this episode, we talked a lot about, will they make us wait a year for Grogu? And
yeah,
I was kind of the opinion that, there would be riots if we had to wait a whole year, or if it's the end of this year, we don't know. I don't know. Whenever Mando 3 comes out. But it was a great episode. I'm on the camp of who cares if Boba wasn't in the show.
Yep.
How can you complain? It was a beautiful episode.
I agree. I completely agree.
If it was something else and the content wasn't what it was, I could maybe understand. Yeah. But once again, we have Star Wars pushing the technology.
Yeah.
Showing us what can be done. People who are like, no, there's no way. There's a Luke show. There could be a Luke show. I mean, Luke could be a main character. Luke could be a main character in all of these things. So that's just and when you and I were watching the making of for the last episode, the way they were talking about deepfake, you and I, we're coming up with our own conclusions, and we're saying there's no way that this is the end.
You don't
the way that Abs was talking about it. No. So sure enough, and that was what? I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe even less.
Yeah,
So, and we're just seeing that become tangible. And so
that came out in August. Out in August. Okay. I remember that. It was the third week of school, and I was like, "Do I have to take off work for this one?"
So, by the way, just a super important episode. Not even necessarily for the show, but just important for what can be done from here on out.
And it's wild to think how big it could get so quickly, because we're watching it. The Cobb Vanth opening was incredible. The spice, him kicking the spice over. I mean, you get his character, and he won the gunslinging match. But I mean, if you put two and two together, Dave Filoni really bookends this really well. If he wins this time, but not so much the next time. And it felt very interesting with the title being "A Stranger Wanders In from the Desert." Is that it?
Yeah. No, when I watched it the third time, I was like, this whole title is about Cad Bane. Cad
Bane. Yeah.
You could have named this episode plenty of things, but
sure.
It was a great episode.
It's interesting too, that title, I didn't realize it till watching it later, is also about Luke. He was nobody essentially. I mean, he obviously had a bigger destiny, and his father was the, Darth Vader. But in terms of being a stranger to the story, could also be a parallel to him, and see how far he's gone as a character. And you're right about the technology, dude. That was I'm gonna get a picture pulled up. That was honestly one of the most impressive things. Even in this first shot right here of him looking around, I was truly blown away.
That might be the best one.
Unbelievable. It looks so much better than the Mando season 2 shot, because his face doesn't look flat. Here it has a lot of dimension to it. Look at that.
Obviously, the technology isn't perfect. There's still some weird things with talking, but I mean, who's gonna complain? At this point, I would rather this than Sebastian Stan.
I completely
agree. What I mean?
When we first watched that episode, at John's house, 2 years ago. It was one of those like, who is it? It's Sebastian Stan, and we had our hopes up, but this is so much better. This is really so much better.
I mean, let's be honest. Luke could be a character in this whole thing. Luke could be a character for the next like 6 to 10 years. I mean, I don't know if they'll use him as liberally as they did in this episode. I think it was really important in this episode, but dude, I don't know, man. I honestly would sit here and watch. I would watch these two do the whole damn thing. You know what I mean?
Me too, of course. And like even the idea of like giving him a slightly different, tunic, right? Like it just adds to it. Like obviously Luke wouldn't wear the same thing over and over again, but like the way this character looked and the way this character functioned in a storytelling level, like it works so well. Like look at that for real looks like it could have been a picture from like Return of the Jedi. Like it's like unbelievable.
Yeah, like restored.
The hair is perfect. Oh my god. And this like put in, it's nuts what they can do now. And this is the shot that like absolutely blew my mind. So they have met before. Do you think they're gonna get that meeting?
Yeah, you stole the words right out of my mouth while I decide what to prepare. Yeah, no, these two, I think this was a kind of a smaller version of what we're going to get in the future. And like we've talked about it on the phone, her, him, and Hayden in one frame.
Oh,
it's going to be sick.
Christ. And Dave dropped the ball on this one because like I didn't think this would happen at all in this episode. Like this is probably the biggest shock to me personally, was like they just established their kinship and their friendship and how they interact. Like, we go from season 7 of Clone Wars right here in this exact shot all the way to here we are now in real life, like in real live action. This shot is real. They have so much storied history, so much like your father. Like there's just so much here that I just was not expecting in any way. Look at this shot.
Masterfully kind of dropped like R2, and then your brain starts wiring just like the ending of season 2. Just perfect kind of building up like are they going to do it? Are they going to do it?
Yep.
Because they could have easily not done it.
Sure. And they could have kept the hood on. Like they could have really gone a crazy route with it. And I agree with Michael. This is one of those ones where I had woken up at 4:50 or 4:45, and then Eric came over right for 4:50. I took the dog out, got everyone fed, and we sat there and we watched it. And he's like, "You're gonna actually lose your mind." And I said, "I don't know how good it's gonna get." He said, "No, you're gonna lose your mind." So you had only watched it once, and then you watched it with me.
And then I watched it
and
about
that's
12 hours later.
Wow,
and then,
I did too.
I've just been watching the Luke scenes like over and over again. It's just incredible. Yeah, no, I agree. It was I was like calling my dad, like, "Are you up? Are you leaving the house?" Like, I'll come straight from Scott's to watch this thing. I have friends who still haven't watched it, and it's funny. This one to me isn't getting spoiled on the internet. There's people who have no clue.
Literally, the only way I found these photos, because these are obviously all screen caps. I did a few myself personally, but a lot of them I looked up hashtag Book of Boba Fett, and that's the only way I could find them. You would have thought on like, and this has happened before, when Grogu was first shown, like in that whole time, the next day on Facebook, I saw people spoiling it. Like, oh my God, this is baby? They showed Yoda as a baby. Like people obviously were very clueless when The Mandalorian first came out. But that was the first thing that dropped. But you really would have thought, like, even like this shot of R2, I thought this would have been spoiled way quicker. But no, it has stayed relatively quiet. I guess, maybe people aren't watching Book of Boba Fett near as much. Maybe they lost interest.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. Yeah, if it was Mando season 3, like everybody would be watching it, I think.
I agree.
But a surprise, but it just blew me away. It really just blew me away. And I'm not really on Twitter, so I don't know what like the general fan reaction is. I have to assume it's like more positive. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are like, yo, the show's called The Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. And I respect that.
Yeah,
I get
it. But like at the same time, like who cares?
Yeah, like literally, like why would you dig that much into it? You can see what's most important right now. The storytellers want us to see this. And you know what? If it makes season 3 of Mando that much better, keep doing this. Like, you never know who's going to show up now. Like, look at this shit.
Yeah.
Look who showed up. What? He's not done. It's so funny. My biggest argument for all this, and I'm sure some people will agree with me here, you don't go through that much effort to build, you know, a new Luke costume or build a new whatever chrysanthemum or even build a Cad Bane costume just to get rid of it like the next episode. Like those things are built to last years. Those things are made so they obviously can be reused for years to come. And like people are worried that Cad Bane's going to get killed. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I have no reason why they would do that. It makes no sense. You introduce one of the most badass villains in all of Star Wars just to kill him off the next week. It's just not the case, man. And
no,
same
I
with
think,
Luke.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be very careful with what they do. They're going to go the George Lucas route. George never wanted to like kill anything that was really that important.
No.
So, and I mean, you know, like how cool was it that, you know, you and I were talking on the phone and like there had been a little bit of hype about this episode. And I go, you know, I'm talking to you and I go, well, you know, Fabs, he's an OT kid. Like there's going to be something crazy that happens with the OT, but it was mainly Clone Wars, prequel trilogy.
Yep.
Kind of callbacks, tiny little Last Jedi callback. Like, and then the biggest thing we have is the manifestation of this man right here for the OT. So I liked how. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Andy and Josh from Hollow Chronicles, they were saying this is the first time since like 2005 that they have felt Star Wars like went top tier, like went over this. Like, here is everything. We're like, we are going to give everything that you want right now. Like, this is not maybe what you expected from this show, but it's everything you're going to need. And I agree with them. Like, this is just things I imagine as a kid. And, you know, Eric and I had talked with this on the phone literally yesterday that we weren't kids of Clone Wars. There's a lot of kids that grew up with the Clone Wars. We happened to get lucky and watch them later, you know? And you can see right here, this is the part that set us off. Like, this was it. Yeah. Like, you gave us Order 66 again in live action. Are you kidding me? Bad Batch did it great. Season 7 of Clone Wars did it great, but this shit was next level. God.
I don't think we're done with that. I don't know if we're. I think that's something that they laid a little seed for us. I don't know if we get it in this show, if we get it in Mando. I mean, Grogu could be one of those other ones that like bounces shows. Like he could be in Ahsoka, and him and Ahsoka could just, you know, full therapy this thing, and we might
go back
see
to the temple.
We might see what I think is going to happen. It's either Anakin or Palpatine that are the ones that call saving this kid. You know, a lot of people are like, or he defends himself. That's possible too, but I think it would just be so interesting if one of the two Sith are already planning for, you know, the next contingency plan.
I agree. That could be the case too. You know, even trying to get him for his blood and stuff, which is evident, which they want to do.
Right.
It is the exact shot where they said, go stop him or go get him or something. Well, you can see it right here. And then it cuts. And you know, it's funny. And I want to hear your take on this too, Eric, because you obviously work in media and you work in film, and there's a lot of opinions in terms of what we've looked at in Star Wars. But I've heard people like Dave Filoni's not a good director. There's too much, you know, the pacing was weird. There was too much cutting. I guess in your humble opinion, how do you feel about those statements?
I don't agree with them.
Well, the same way then.
No, I mean, like, obviously everything is subjective, and like art is like, there's no objective correct way to do art. There's a lot that happened in this episode, and I actually thought the pacing was pretty, like, people are saying like they couldn't keep up with like the last thing that happened, but watching it like 2 or 3 times, I don't know about that. There's some things that definitely breathe.
The training stuff was amazing.
Yeah, no, I actually think it was directed really well. In fact, this was probably Dave's best episode. I was telling you.
I was going to say that. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say somehow he made a better episode than Ahsoka, which was very focused. But isn't that funny? There's a whole Ahsoka episode. Now, I know Mando's there, but she's essentially like the co-star. And then Boba Fett in Rodriguez's episode in what was it, episode 6 last year? Or for Mando. I mean, I'd argue that he's the star of it, and like nobody had any complaints. Now, again, Mando was there. But like it's one of those things where if we would have just, obviously Boba needs Mando, and it's one of those things, if you just drop Mando in the last episode, I think that's bad storytelling, because you're just like, where the hell has he been? What has he been doing? Like we needed to get some, you needed to reintroduce him, which is why that's the name of the episode. And obviously it took more than one episode to show what he's been up to. And, you know, with Dave, there's really, there's hardly ever moments where things do not matter. So obviously everything that happened in episode 5 and episode 6 of this show is going to matter. Will it matter next week? I don't know. It might. But will it matter for season 3? Will it matter for Ahsoka? Yeah, 100%.
100%. Oh, yeah.
Is Luke going to go to Tatooine next week? I don't know. Maybe.
And everything's off the table. We literally have no idea. That's the crazy part.
Will Han Solo show up and we get Luke and Han on screen again? Like, maybe. Like,
yeah.
At this point, it's like Mark Hamill is alive and well, so I think they're going to like use Luke as much as they can. I think it's one of these things that once they start dying, they might back off the pedal a little bit. But Mark Hamill's alive, Harrison Ford's alive. If you got these guys and they're willing to come do, that's the one thing I have been enjoying about their decision making. They've been very respectful of their character choices. And, you know, maybe you said this to me, maybe Troy said this to me, I don't know. He's like, well, Leia probably won't show up. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, they've said they won't use her, but if Billy Lord's there and she's the one getting deep faked and she approves, they're going to go,
why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah.
The reception that we had, even in Rogue One, I mean, she obviously died right after Rogue One came out. So, like, even when she was in Rogue One with the Hope line, I mean, that was just enough, you know? Even if they do something as small as that, like, we thought Luke's role was going to be small, then it was going to be done. And then we realized, okay, maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's not the case at all, you know?
I'm curious if people in the chat, would you be offended if they did special edition edits and fixed the deep fakes? Because at this point, like, and make them the definitive versions.
Yeah.
And do you think they'll do that? Do you think that they are up, you know, are they willing to pull George Lucas's, or are they going to be a little bit more strict and kind of show like the history of like what was happening? Well, let me get your take on that, Scott. What do you think is the way to go? Do you preserve what the technology was at, or do you restore it for Disney Plus?
As long as you have both options. Like, if they did that to the Phantom Menace, I would be sad at the fact that maybe I wouldn't see the original cut on Disney Plus anymore. Would I still buy the box set and everything? Well, of course. No question about it. Like, if they did 20 years or 25 years later, they redid all the special effects in TPM, or even Rogue One, or even Mando, I would say yes. I would say, please do that. That's great. Keep all the voices the same. And they may even add stuff, which I also wouldn't be upset with, unless it changed the narrative entirely. Like, you know, my biggest frustration with A New Hope Special Edition was the fact that they made Jabba scene because it ruins the mystique of Jabba in the original trilogy. If you had just watched the Faces box set, which is the one I watched, then at some point in the past 5 years I watched the Blu-ray version, and I was like, this is terrible. Like, why would you do this? You ruin the mystery that is Jabba the Hutt in terms of release order. So yeah, like Will said, both options. I'm fine with it. I don't care what they do. Touch it up. Like this, there's a couple of things that, you know, obviously from Mando season 2 that could have used a lot more work. And looking at it now, we have such better technology within those past 2 years. It's more focused. It's obviously they got the guy from YouTube to kind of perfect some of this. So give me some of that. And I saw also, I'm sure you saw this today too. There was like a re-edit of this scene where someone made Cad Bane look a little bit better. But I like the freaky mask.
Well, how many years has it been since Cad Bane's been on screen? Like
literally.
20? I mean, like his face isn't gonna be.
Oh no, it's not gonna be the same. Mm-mm.
And what I liked about it,
20.
Well, Bad Batch, right? So you got
Bad Batch, which would have been just like momentarily after Order 66.
So I kind of like the fact that his face is a little chunkier. But the cool thing they did is when his hat was down, it was very much the silhouette of his face, or if you want to call it that, the shape of his face was very Clone Wars looking. It almost looked like he got a longer chin. But also that's a prosthetic, and like I don't know if you can make somebody's face look that skinny. So like, look how amazing this is with the little vapor tower in the background. How sick is this?
Unbelievable. The best part about this to me personally is the fact that if you had never seen Cad Bane before, you would still be scared by this dude. And he's got like the steampunk thing we talked about, Eric. And like you can see he's got, I don't know if y'all can see here, he's got like a little bit of spit when he was talking. Like he is very much the villain. And if you had never seen anything in Clone Wars, you would have instantly got that vibe from this one shot. And like the best part is he doesn't answer any of Cobb Vance's questions.
No, never says his name. Never says his name.
Never says his name.
And if you watch with captions, it says stranger.
Oh, way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
So,
unbelievable. Look at this shit.
Yeah, no, he ain't going
next level.
He ain't going anywhere.
But you know what? Maybe I heard a theory that I want to hear your concept on. What if Cad Bane was originally hired by the Pikes a long time ago to wipe out the Tusken Raiders? And that feeds the fuel for Boba Fett. Like it goes from being like it's Cad Bane, like a 5 out of 10, like, oh no, this is not gonna be good. Like this is Cad Bane, like I put a hole in his head, haven't seen him since, whatever. And then Cad Bane says a line like, I killed all those Tusken Raiders you had befriended. That 5 would go to a 10. Will we see this character die? I don't think so. I don't think you set him up because he can become a villain of Din Djarin now. He's not just going to be a villain of Boba Fett. Look how wild this is. Hold on. There was this shot that set me off. I was like, no. I was freaking out. I wish you had the reaction video. And no, it's a big file. I probably couldn't even crop it quickly enough, but we were tripping. Well, I was tripping balls. I was like, this is unbelievable that we were getting this. But yeah, do they kill him, Eric?
No. How great of a threat would he be if he was one who was after Grogu? Or working for the Empire, even though here he says he doesn't sound like he would work for the First Order or the Empire or the Remnants or whatever. Yeah, no, he's not going anywhere. I'll be surprised if he dies. I'll be truly shocked. Because I don't know, man. Dave, I've been saying this for a while. I don't think Dave's doing animation anymore with Star Wars. Oh, he's done.
You think he's proven his point? His characters that he made are now becoming so important to live action.
He's like done. Can you imagine Thrawn hiring that dude? You know what I mean? I don't know. Dave ain't going anywhere. Dave is the new George.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to talk about that because that's something that's been on my mind a lot recently. All these, can we text about it for a moment? And we haven't really talked on the phone about it though either. This episode to me is an homage to George Lucas, obviously in terms of what George helped set up in the Clone Wars with Dave. But like even the subtle things like the Luke teaching by experience rather than like full on lessons. Like Luke's not saying lesson 1 like he does in, The Last Jedi, lesson 2. Because at that point, Luke's a master Jedi. At this point, technically he's still a Jedi Knight, quote unquote. So like his lessons are so much different than him obviously in TLJ. And I got a picture I want to show you with this one. Like we got so much of this, Yeah.
No, it rhymes. His first student is essentially his only master.
Yes.
God. So
unreal.
Or the same species. I meant not the same, but yeah, it's so cool that's like kind of what Fav's vision was. I guess essentially.
Yeah,
maybe that's something him and Dave worked out together. But no, it's really awesome. I love how this is the most Anakin version of Luke we've gotten ever.
Yes.
I mean, and obviously there's a little bit of that with like the fighting style in Mando.
But it's funny because he's not like Ben Kenobi, where Ben Kenobi was kind of trying to manipulate Luke, which is weird to think about now. Not in a bad way. He just knew the path Luke needed to be on. But Obi-Wan in A New Hope was very much like, oh, I'm an old man. I can't do this by myself. And then you've got Luke who's just leading by example and experience here. You know, he's telling Grogu what to think and feel and what he should be thinking of. And there was a couple of great scenes in this that really established that idea. And he even gave Grogu a choice. Most times in Star Wars, these characters don't get choices. The chain link or the lightsaber. And that was impressive for him to have grown enough to be like, here is your options.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing here, because Luke wasn't given a choice. He was kind of given an ultimatum, and he chose his friends, and he chose the wrong choice, quote unquote. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see this evolution of him being like, you know, like hearing him talk about attachments is crazy.
Oh, it's incredible.
So it's kind of strange that he's taken on a little bit of the more dogmatic side of the Jedi, because he was very much not a. That's the thing. It's weird seeing Luke as like a prequel Jedi. That's like kind of his vibe right now.
Interesting. I
so
like that.
Yeah, I mean he's stoic. I mean he was progressively getting more stoic as the movies went on.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember if there's a single whiny line in Return of the Jedi. I don't think there is.
No, there's not.
Like by the time he walks in, he's very calm. Like, you know, I will destroy you or whatever. You know. So, but like he is truly like Coruscant kind of vibe. Just, I don't know. It's interesting. But like I said, he's the calmest versions of Anakin right now. And that's, I mean, it's how they're directing that in this performance, which is a, you know, half-baked statement. But yeah, no, it's really, really cool. I am curious on, I mean, now the question is, are they going to leave that for Mando season 3? Because that seems more believable than the question last week where I was like, there's no way they're not going to show us Grogu, but they could make us wait this time.
And that's fine. And I would be okay with that wait, to be completely honest with you, because that's a good wait. That's a great cliffhanger. And this show was nothing but cliffhangers. I heard Joseph Scrimshaw and Ken Napslow talk about that on their show. This whole episode was just cliffhangers. They cliffhung the fate of, you know, Cobb Vanth. They left the cliffhanger with Grogu's decision. They left the cliffhanger with how they're going to even approach the battle with the Pikes. Like, there was just cliffhanger after cliffhanger in the best way possible. And that's what you do with these serial storytellings. Like, so you can see, he's been given a choice. Where is he going to go with this choice? You know, will he go back to what's comfortable? Will he embrace what's new? And honestly, both those decisions will make him a better, I guess, being in the end of it. And like, to kind of tie back to the Dave and George thing, I mean, there is, and this is no knock, obviously, on The Force Awakens, but there's a way to approach Star Wars that's obviously not rehashing the old. And if anything, this whole episode was an homage to every part of Star Wars now, even the sequel trilogy, with shots just like this. Like, that obviously is going to parallel the night where, you know, the whole Jedi Temple gets burned down because of Ben. It's just, there's just so much legacy here and so much, I guess, attentiveness to the future of the story. Like, look at this. I mean, you can't. I don't know. I don't know. There's no mountains here, so I don't know. Just the idea behind all of this is super interesting, though. Like, maybe it's not the same place. Maybe it's a different part of this planet. It's just interesting to know that Dave is taking into account everything. And this is one of the ones I edited. But this is a brilliant parallel. His last moment, you know, his first moments as a teacher, you know, and then his last moment as a student. Like, it's just, it's beautiful. It's incredible. And I know George probably either came to set for this day or at least had a phone call with Dave about this, because this whole episode was so George Lucas. It took its time. It took its time. It wasn't super flashy. It was fun. It was nice. And this theme right here is really interesting. Will pointed it out, and I didn't even think about that, Will, till you said it. He said, let's see, was this one it? No, whenever Luke pulled up all those frogs, it's a reference to Yoda picking up the X-Wing with ease. Yes, completely agree. It's just that same exact idea. Like, look what you can do with the Force if you can believe yourself. And obviously, that was a struggle for Grogu. And the interesting thing, too, with Grogu is he kind of exhausts himself when he uses the Force, which hopefully we see the last of that. But when he was doing the flips and turns, he was dead tired after all that happened.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's an idea that George has pitched, because Yoda, after he fights, he is grabbing the cane and stuff like that. So I wonder if that's... Yeah, I don't know. Grogu is like one of the most brilliant
We've talked about this
that have happened
privately. You and I have talked about this so many times. It's sickening.
It's just brilliant. And the fact that Luke has his saber. Let's go, boy.
I know. I freaked. That's what made me cry. I want to see that video because I cried. I teared up a lot of this, but straight up cried when he took out Yoda's saber. And they obviously started playing Yoda's theme, and Eric was the only one that got to see this in person. But when we went and built our sabers at Galaxy's Edge, I was holding it in. I was like, "This is badass." I was feeling it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. There's a moment where someone goes over the intercom, and then like the room kind of rattles because it's like super bassy and like it's like just really dim lit. It's just so well done. And a character says a couple of lines, and the music plays, and it just. In that moment, it absolutely hits. And that song has always, I don't know, been big for me. And to hear it this episode, to hear it in TLJ, and Tross, to hear it in The Rise of Skywalker, it's just been big moments like that. They only save that OT music in these shows now for very special moments.
I was about to say, this is the first episode in Boba that they play OT music, correct?
They played the Force theme when they showed this exact shot. Hold on, I have a picture of it because I cried yesterday watching it because of the music. It was this shot right here. Unbelievable.
Yeah, yes. But they like, yeah, they haven't played any OT music until this episode, right?
No, not in this show. I mean, no, Boba Fett didn't really have a theme in the OT, so no, I guess they didn't.
No, the music's been great, and just to get this just hits it, on the next level. Yeah, man, this is just like, who could be upset with this?
That's the thing. Like, what?
It's possible.
What person? What person watches this and's like, what the shit? Like, I don't understand. Like, we got this.
This is an interesting Gerry question. I don't know, if he's listening. Oh gosh, the second Battlefront in story mode, Luke's like looking for clues and stuff, and I'm trying to figure out. I mean, does it matter? I think they made some decisions here that maybe kind of show their hand, because Luke's. I don't even know how many years Battlefront is from.
Neither do I. I think it's right after
it's like the moment. Yeah, it's the moment.
Yeah, it's like right after the fall.
This would line up. Luke's. Yeah. How would you feel if bearded Han showed up?
It'd be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Like brown bearded. You know what's crazy too? People are forgetting that right now he's doing Lucasfilm work on Indiana Jones. Like, that's Lucasfilm. Like, it's not anyone else. It's Kathleen Kennedy, Frank Marshall, and Spielberg's executive producing. Like, that's Lucasfilm work, and they've had prosthetic mask already made. Of him, and you've seen shots of it. Like, they really could just deep fake him into something. Like, you're not wrong on that. God, like, he could show up in that sense, but like, how do they do it? And like, I think it's possible that in Mando season 3 it's more likely, because he's going to go back for Grogu, or something's going to happen, and maybe Din is needed by Luke, or Han is needed by Luke, and we get, oh my God, that's going to be a night.
I would love a hot-headed Han trying to fight Din Djarin. I don't know how well that would go, but
God,
I don't know. I think next week. Now, of course, like, we may have to set our expectations a little lower, but being hyped on this one, I have this vision of Han and Kira fighting next week. I have a vision of Chewie and Chrysanthemum butting heads for some reason.
That'd be incredible.
And obviously Cad Bane and Boba. But if Luke shows up too, I don't know. I don't know how Boba would react to seeing Luke and Han.
That's the thing. That's the thing, right? Because they could be enemies. I mean, Boba might have to make a decision, you know?
Yeah.
No harsh feelings, mate.
So thinking of all those possibilities, it's hard to, you know, they might have just set the tone here, like Cad Bane is like the visual
big
version of the threat here, and Kira might show up. But there's a lot of Crimson Dawn little drops here and there throughout the show. So I don't know. I also think next week's episode is gonna be long. Well,
that's what we were told. Ming-Na Wen straight up said, she's like, after the finale, you're gonna look at this whole season in a different light. And obviously, you know, she's aware of what's happening with this show. I'm sure she was in the script reading process. Like, this whole Luke thing wasn't a surprise to her. And I'm sure it wasn't for Tim. And I'm sure they're like, we feel sidelined, but you got to think about it this way. If they're going to give us a trade-off of Book of Boba Fett, you know, we've gotten 4 episodes that are straight Boba Fett. We could get an episode next season, or maybe even 2 episodes next season of Mando season 3, which are primarily Boba Fett based. And like, that's how you do that payoff. That's how you allow these stories to happen organically now. So then later you go, oh, I was a dummy for feeling that way. William said he's heading out. So say Bombad always. We will always play Man in the Mirror, of course. But how do you feel about that in terms of we could get more Boba Fett in that path, you know?
Well, yeah, let's also think about it in a practical sense. Like, these TV is very fast, and Ming-Na Wen is 58 and Tim is 60 something. So the reason these episodes might exist, not only on a story level, but like on a practicality, is like, you need to give these people breaks.
Yes. You're right. Wow. I didn't think about that.
And then, you know, Pedro is obviously not in the suit. So giving him,
he might have been one part of this episode. There was a couple of body language things. I'm like, I don't know if anyone else could pull that off as well, but I don't know exactly where.
I seriously doubt it.
Yeah. You're probably not wrong. And I mean that.
No, hold on. Siri's talking in my ear. She's telling me that I seriously doubt it. Sorry. That was so off-putting. Sorry. Say what you said again.
Well, I was just saying, it was like, you know, you've got these stories that are being set up now. Will they get paid off in the 3rd season? And I'm thinking they will, right? I respect the idea that maybe they won't be the way we want them to be, or maybe in the way we saw them playing out this whole season. I mean, I knew we were going to get crawling up the Sarlacc pit. I knew we'd get him getting back the fire spray, the slave one. I knew all that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But we get things like this, and it's pseudo season 3, but who's to say that season 3 of Mando, this dude's going to show back up for like 4 or 5 episodes?
100%. He might help him take back Mandalore. You know what I mean? So, but here's another little practical thing about it. Like, everyone says they want new Star Wars, but like, I guarantee you the most criticized show is going to be The Acolyte.
Oh,
of course. If it doesn't have, like, I don't care what people say. We want to feel things. Star Wars is member berries. Like,
yes,
we don't need, like, think about the most criticized thing on this show. And I didn't like them. I didn't love them. The mods. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
That could have been done differently for me. Not the idea of it, but like the presentation. No. Yeah. So, and then let's think about Last Jedi. You know, arguably the most criticized movie. Again, I didn't love it. But it was different.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things where we do need a familiar kind of thing going on with these shows, and people were just obsessed with like shared universes, and this is coming from the house of shared universes, Disney. They understand like how to make money, and like, you know, we just saw Eternals, and like we felt very disappointed by that, and then we go see Spider-Man, and you know,
ultimate high, the highest of highs.
It's the number 6 movie of all time. You know what I mean? So, I think there's a practical case to be made there that, like, it makes sense for these people to jump in and like shrink into the universe and stuff. But like, Luke Skywalker is alive. Like, use Luke. Yeah. It makes sense.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have him show up in every episode. And like,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people are saying like they should have started this season with this stuff, but like you needed to reintroduce Boba because we got everybody's headcanon version of Boba and Mando.
Yeah.
And we know that that's there.
Mm-hmm.
But we even got a little, you know, towards the end, he's all regal and talking about like, you know, I'm gonna, you know, my promise wasn't kept and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, no, and I think like they told us from the get-go, like this is all gonna culminate in a climactic event. So like, yeah, you gotta have these characters popping in each other's shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. And that's why I think
there we go.
That's why I think next week could be nuts. Like it could be,
and
nuts.
it could be. And I'm gonna be honest with everyone here. I took off work for that reason. I couldn't focus yesterday. I know you couldn't either.
No, we might have to go get tattoos after the episode.
Say Bombad right across the forehead.
Yeah, Post Malone style.
I'm not gonna lie. The second a character, and I don't know if this will ever happen. If I was thinking about this the other day, if for some reason one of them showed up as like, all right, say Bombad, and walked off frame, obviously I would have made it. Jerry and I would have made it, but I think it would constitute a legit tattoo from the actor who said it across my whole arm. And I'm not a tattoo person. That would be it though. If they threw that in there. And I was thinking like, and obviously right here is actually really interesting. Michael says, I don't think they could reveal Crimson Dawn this late. It may be revealed as a mastermind behind it all and get setups for another set up villains for another season. I agree with that. There's going to be a second season of the show. And if not, it's going to be Mando season 3 with a lot of this combined in it. Because you don't set up Boba Fett this way. The whole wants to be a leader, and then you don't pay that off. Is he going to be the mayor? I don't think so. I think he's going to be a crime boss. He doesn't give a shit about being a mayor. And obviously, I think the destruction of Garsa Fwip's bar, that's going to be huge implication. Like that's going to be the event that's like the World War II level event where like it sets off, you know, the actual war. And obviously that was a place that Boba Fett had reign over, quote unquote. So I'm ready for that. And Michael also said this, and I completely agree, Michael. The Disney Plus shows are now clearly the Star Wars shared universe. This episode made me all for it. I agree. You wouldn't have had this episode if season 1 of Mando happened, if season 2 of Mando happened, and obviously season 7 of Clone Wars, and even Bad Batch, Cad Bane. Like all these things happen for a reason. And
yeah,
it's insane. We feel so lucky. And like we talked about this off air too, Eric. In 2015, let me get it pulled up. If you had showed me anything like this, I would have been what has happened. Like something as simple as this, but I guess in particular, the biggest reveal of them all, which was the so casually done, was Ahsoka and 29-year-old Luke Skywalker. Where's that shot at? Like, look at this. I would have never have believed you. This shouldn't be real. This is real life. We watched this yesterday on TV.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't think this would have done nearly as well if this show came out in 2015. People would have like you said, these things happen for a reason. Like the sequels had to come out, they had to be received the way they were, and then so we can get this. This doesn't hit nearly as hard, and it doesn't work nearly as well in 2015.
No.
And am I seeing things, or do you have a random picture of Obi-Wan from Phantom Menace in here?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I don't know why that's in there. Look.
The negotiations will show it. No.
See,
oh, is that? That's
it.
the line?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the shot. Because
and it's VHS too.
Yeah, on my Twitter, I've been doing a bit where I post every day a different shot from the Phantom Menace, and I found out there's a bot you can actually just upload photos to and have it do it automatically. So I'm gonna actually do that from here on out. I'm gonna just like sit there for like 2 hours and just screenshot everything from the Phantom Menace and have it randomly upload just this shots from the Phantom Menace in VHS form. I feel like that would blow up on Twitter.
I heard that was from Joe Burrow's TV.
Yes, it was actually. Joe Burrow actually lended me. He mailed me his childhood VHS tape.
Wow.
By the way, how did you interpret this scene? Because this is awesome. When he just rode around, the Jawas were all excited. What did this mean?
I have no clue.
Star Wars. This is to me just classic Star Wars. It was like, okay, happy Jawas.
This is your version of having a rock in the foreground. We're like, this is Dave's version of that, so it's a little bit more interesting. I have no idea what like the implications were. Ewan has talked about Jawas being in his show, which I don't know if it's a little, no clue. I have no clue what. I think Jawas will end up being in every show probably. And I know a lot of people are criticizing Tatooine being in all these things, but Tatooine is literally in every movie except for Empire, right? It's in every single movie except for the sequels, of course. But
yeah, Tross is the only one that had Tatooine on it.
Yeah. So
oh, this is a good point. That makes sense now. If those are the same Jawas, you're right. And obviously, Din made the Crate Dragon explosion, which is definitely where this is from.
Yeah,
maybe it's like
100%.
a what's it called? A rear view mirror piece, like a dice that would hang on your rear view.
Yeah.
But this is just so awesome. And you're probably right, Michael. I didn't think about that at all. Maybe they were like, oh wow, that's the Nubian, there's only one of them, that he helped fly. God.
Was that a Naboo starfighter?
Dude, that was this right here was so awesome. Is that a Naboo starfighter? That was so awesome. God.
Yeah,
and
that's the most
like that.
Yeah.
God.
That's the first time we've seen one since what? Well, technically there was one in Tross, right?
Yeah, there was one shot.
But the last time we saw it was one getting blown up. Or no, not blown up. It was in the beginning of Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That was
the fact that it's like that Captain Phasma kind of silver. It's cool. There's a little bit more at play. I still think Din's from Naboo. I don't know if that like matters at all. I still think they're like kind of telling us like that's where he's from, and there's something important about that. And maybe not, but since they showed us those flashbacks, it looks great. How sick would it be if R2 rides with him in that?
I'm telling you, like, there's so much you can do with this, and obviously, I think this is set for Grogu. They didn't explicitly say it, but I mean, it's kind of an interesting way to set up that visually for season 3. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he puts his bounties back there. I don't
know if you noticed it, but when he landed, if you looked at the angle, like R2 was in it, and I was like, hey, that's sick,
brilliant.
So.
Oh, I forgot I screenshotted this one. This one's one of the best ones right here. Holy cow.
Yeah.
God.
There was just looks that Mark Hamill made towards Ahsoka where I was like, that's Hayden Christensen's face.
Yeah.
Just like his mannerisms. I don't know, dude. So masterfully done. I do hope there's some sort of, follow-up to what we got and like George being there and George seeing this. And we talked. We're like, is Mark on set for this one? I'm like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah,
it'd be amazing if he was, but he wouldn't have to be. But he amazing.
No, not anymore. Not anymore. And like maybe they did the same thing they did last time, where he like moved his head up and they kind of figured out how he would move, or maybe he even visited with the young man that portrayed him, in the deep fake stuff. And they just went with that.
And this is something we noticed on the credits too. The body double was listed as Scott Lang on the credits.
Yes.
And we don't know if that's like a little joke or if that's real.
To have been an homage to Peyton Reed. I just really think that's the case.
And I really hope I'm the only person on the planet that noticed it, but I doubt it.
I think no, I haven't seen anyone else on our social spaces talk about it yet, but you may be the first one here. He might have just broke some news.
Yeah, I want Favs to like tweet. Yeah, how great is that? Seeing Luke hold it is cool because we've never seen that, right?
Wild. Well, it's weird because it's PT meets OT in the best way possible, and then meets whatever you would call Mandoverse. It's just nuts, man. Oh my god. Well, I guess I want to bring this up for Michael too. I can't wait to finally see where Luke and Ahsoka meet I was so glad that this episode at least confirmed they know each other by now. And that is one of my favorite things about this whole episode that was a big twist for me personally, is like they met. But you have to show them, because Luke probably sized her up and she probably sized Luke up.
I was about to say,
there
there's
must have been a realization.
There must be a 40% chance that they fight at first. Like, because Luke's just like on guard, he just defeated Vader and like all this stuff.
Yep.
Anybody who has a lightsaber is probably a threat in his mind.
Oh yeah.
Especially somebody with 2. And then, I mean, it'd be great if she didn't know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she probably does at this point. She probably does know at this point for some reason. Somebody might already know that. I don't know that.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have the conversation where she's like, "Yeah, I was your father's Padawan and all this stuff." And,
friend of the family was the best line.
Yeah.
God, friend of the family was a great line. I guess if we can do our final predictions, obviously this is the last Book of Bombad episode for a while, and I wish we had Gerry here to kind of give his thoughts. But in terms of what you anticipate, is he going to ride the Rancor? I think he's going to ride the Rancor.
Oh wow, that'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd be some great payoff
great.
for
It would be.
just him knocking out fools, the Pikes.
Yep.
Crimson Dawn, whoever. Yeah, no, I think that's possible. I think I'm wondering if we get one more flashback scene. I don't know how. It seemed like they closed the book on that.
They could have done some sort of like meditation moment where he's like, before the big fight, I want to get my back to pot. Obviously, the line wouldn't be that shitty, but like he would maybe want to go into it and heal up or be re-energized, and then he goes into it, and then we get the huge payoff of Jango talking to Daniel Logan. I mean, that would just be, I'd be punching the shit out of you when we watch it 2 a.m. next week. Whoo!
Yeah, no, it'd be great. That. I also think there's like some sort of, I don't know about the craziness level, like sky's the limit with that, but I think we'll also get a bit of a post-credit scene talking about what is next, because like I think they've set that up. Because even with season one was the one where he walks out with the Darksaber, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that had so much bigger implications than we could have ever realized.
Had no idea that it would shape everything now.
Yeah, so there might be a scene, and we might even get the text again, like Mando season 3 coming, whatever.
Yep, December 2022.
So I think that's probably. I think there'll be a lot of fist pumping and screaming and stuff. The really cool thing about the writing is I just really have no clue. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's going to be the big battle, but there's no real, like, even with Mando season 2, I was like, Luke showing up. Like, that was a feeling I had.
Yeah, sure, of course.
And that's something that they've set up, and that's something that they set up in the season. There's not really anything they set up besides the Rancor. Like, that's really
I want to ride it.
Yeah. So
that's one of them, and obviously there is the Tusken Raider. The warrior could show back up. Something like that would be really dope. I mean, the last person of the tribe. And I was saying this too, that I don't think anyone could have really registered and think about it. I would love the warrior to show back to replay the role of Boba Fett. When I say that, I mean, obviously in Jabba's palace, Jabba sat there, Boba Fett just stood there on guard. Give us that, right? Give us the next person on guard and have it be a Tusken Raider warrior. I mean, that would be freaking incredible. I would love that personally.
Tim's not going anywhere.
Oh, hell no. Ming-Na Wen's not going either.
I was kind of under the impression for a minute midway through the season that Ming-Na would turn on him after being upset, but I don't think that's the route they're going anymore.
Not after her getting Mando and like that was a great interaction, by the way. And he was like, he needs us. He needs it. He needs heavies. And like to see it to see it happen was just so great. And he walks in and he goes to get, more people. And I guess the members of Freetown will now be involved too.
That's true, right?
That face that Weequay makes, whoo, he was like pissed that Cobb got shot in the shoulder. So I was like, yeah, they're going to get that whole town involved too. And they're going to be
true, huh?
And they might even get Tuskens involved because they're tied in with the Tuskens now, which would just be insane. Tusken Raiders in the city of Mos Eisley would be so sick.
So
do we get a battle? Do we get a battle at the Boonta Eve? area. I mean,
oh my gosh. Wait, where? Tell
we
me.
would
Okay,
lose
never
our
mind.
shit.
Dude, I just want one scene where they're like running and Watto's like posted up like 100 years old, like just big chilling. Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, I think next week's gonna be really important. I think. Oh, hold on, I might have to bounce.
Oh, it's okay.
Give me 1 second. Wrap your thoughts.
I'll come on full. Yeah, that's good. So, in terms of what we are going to see and how big things could get, I'm very much looking forward to where this finale is going to go. And I like Michael's comment. Michael said retirement home. Why isn't it pulling up? Oh no. Yeah, there has not been a Watto cameo, which is surprising. But my favorite one is this one right here. Retirement home. Look at that picture pulled up. That's the best. It could happen, Michael. I'm not saying it's not the realm of possibilities. I mean, I really think we could get this in live action. Where's it at? Oh no, here it is. This is the final shot. What's the final shot of Book of Boba Fett, Scott? Oh, this is it right here. Just a retirement home. Look at this. Wow, we're going to make the palace a retirement community. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but you never know. But he could have a complete change of character and want that out of it. I don't know, Eric, if you're good or not. If you give me a thumbs up, we'll know. All right, we're good. Let's bring Eric back in to wrap this whole thing up. Obviously, our predictions might mean something in the long run, but one of the bigger ideas. Look at this. Where's my Hopi? I don't know. That's another good one. He could show back up.
Yeah, that's happening. That's 100% happening. Also, there's reasons to believe Ewoks show up next week.
Oh, say why. You've been obsessed with this idea, and I don't blame you.
Yeah, no, there was a BuzzFeed video where Ming-Na and Tim went on and they did like a, which Star Wars villain are you? And they answered all the questions. And for some reason, like Ewoks came up because it might have said like, who's the cutest creature in Star Wars or whatever. And Tim kind of made this like half joke, half kind of serious kind of remark where he was talking about how fun it was to work with those guys. Scott's under the impression that like maybe he's aware of the canon version of Rex being on the planet during the Return of the Jedi, but I just don't know if they're like that clued in. So I think there's a version where like Ewoks show up next week. It's Jon Favreau. I think he said what he was one of the specials, he said he was a usher or something at a movie theater.
During the Ewoks were my thing. That's what he said.
Yeah, but
weren't my thing. He still likes it.
Neither was the prequels, and look what he's like writing.
I wanted to say this too. Now that I'm thinking about it, this whole series has been a love letter to Return of the Jedi. The creatures, the aesthetic, obviously Jabba's castle. I mean, that was where it was set up. But in terms of everything, like, I want to watch Return of the Jedi now, just the first 50 minutes, and just take in how much of it was set up through here. And, Boba Fett's a direct tie-in. But, like, just in terms of the themes, I mean, look, we get Yoda's last moments. Now we get Grogu and Luke's first moments. Like, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And, I'm pumped.
I just want to also say, in case I'm the only one who's maybe cracked this, probably not, but I think Alan Tudyk is the chef droid in that one episode.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure it's Alan Tudyk. And I think Anthony Daniels was the droid with the bomb that was holding the bomb. I think it was Anthony Daniels.
That's brilliant.
I think there's when I first watch it, I'm watching with headphones. And so there's reasons for me to think that. Definitely, like, I am like almost 100% sure that it's Alan Tudyk as the chef droid, but they're not credited. Anyway, that really has nothing to do with anything. But
no. That's important. Those things come out later. And let me ask you this too, because I think you and I's favorite thing obviously is going to be the gallery show that drops after. Are we going to get a full season again? Or do you think we're just going to get a whole episode? I think it's the easiest way to do it now. But do you think we're going to get a full thing?
I mean, they might do exactly what at this time, if they do a Luke thing, they'll add it. It'll be one episode, probably an hour and 10 minutes of like everything. Yeah. Probably spending a large majority of the time talking about what happened in this episode and next episode. Yeah, no, probably.
You don't get a full puppet Rancor. Like, you don't get the full head of Rancor and not talk about it. Because that was a full head. Like, that was actually like a 10-foot by 10-foot head of a Rancor. Phil Tippett was totally there, by the way.
Yeah, I would also love, and I don't know if they'll ever do it, but if they start filming the script readings, there's an actual word for it, but I'm blanking. If they did one for one of the episodes and show it like they did for Force Awakens, they clearly filmed that whole thing.
Didn't they? Because you want to know why we never gotten it? It was the first draft. That's why we never gotten it. They don't want to show what was exactly in the first draft.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah, and I do like this as well. So they just come to own a casino mob style. There's just some things in this that would be awesome. Like give us Salacious Crumb, maybe he survives. Maybe Hondo Anaka shows up. Like there's just much that's I know we would freak out. But to kind of just to round all this out, I've loved this show. I think I've liked it more than season 1 of Mando. Have I liked it more than season 2 of Mando? That's a hard thing to pinpoint.
Yeah, next week will be
more connective tissue. Definitely more connective tissue than both those seasons combined. So I don't know.
Yeah, next week will be telling.
Yeah,
because season 2 of Mando was just so tight.
Like
the biggest lull you have is like the the frog lady episode, but like that's
that wasn't even that bad.
No, it's not
we
that.
got Carson Teva and Dave. Like we got so many cool things in that one too. Oh my God.
So like Ming-Na said, maybe after the finale we see this whole show differently.
Completely different.
So it has been an experience for sure. Because
definitely.
What's nice for me, at least, is that there's finally things about Star Wars that like frustrate me. Like, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
like the mods, like they actually frustrated me. Not necessarily the characters themselves, just the designs and stuff like that.
Well, it's funny because the mods, to me, they frustrated me at first, and I really wasn't vocal about it. I thought it was cool, very Georgie. But when they brought the mods in that fixed Fennec Shan, I'm like, well, that's how you pay it off. You made me not like them at first, and then they're the ones that gave Fennec the metal stomach. I'm like, well, now this makes so much more sense. Like I care about them now. You add that flavor later, but yeah.
No, it's been a nice experience. TV is kind of the way. See, the air is doing it again. It makes me think that somebody's in here. It's just the air. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
TV is nice because you could be frustrated with something and then be totally happy the next week.
Yes.
And like
totally happy.
It's never going to, and I think there's like, I don't remember if it's Phantom Menace or if it's Revenge of the Sith. He's like, we're never going to make anyone happy. Like we're not going to make everyone happy. And it's been this show probably out of the other shows is me just like saying, wow, what a great time to be a Star Wars fan,
Yep.
The fact that there's so much out there now and
so much to come, right? Look at this year alone. We had the Disney publicist slipped up today, and I was the one that kind of got that ball rolling on Star Wars leaks, by the way. If anyone that checks Star Wars Reddit, I actually was the one that made that original post. It's got like 1,000 upvotes. It's like insane. It's like blew up. But the reason I'm saying that is we've got in May, Kenobi more than likely, Andor in like October, Bad Batch somewhere in there, Mando season 3. Like this is the first time in a while where we've been fed. Like it's been a movie every other year, every year at the most. And here we are, like weekly. Star Wars is just the best. And like you said, it allows you to be frustrated, which is great. It should be that way. It should challenge what you think and how you feel. You might not even like it. And it's okay to dislike things. And the biggest thing to kind of, I have to say this like 4 times to wrap this up, was the idea of Robert Rodriguez doing this show to begin with, and now he's ending it. Are you worried about that? Because the mod episode, not the best of the season for me. Had some cool moments, though, with the Rancor and the twins. But the first episode of Boba Fett, and I'm going to be real here, was my favorite first episode of any of the shows. I liked it more than the twist in season 1 was amazing, obviously. The twist in season 2 was amazing. But episode 1, I've watched that one the most of all these shows because of the music and the moment and what it means and his struggle with the Tuskens. I'm hoping that he just nails it with this last episode. And I think he will. You don't give a guy like this the last episode for no reason. Like Peyton Reed, we were all worried the night before. Oh, he did the Frog Lady episode.
Yeah.
And boy, were we wrong.
Yeah, I think the precedent is there. I think it'll be awesome. Just hopefully no speeder chases. It's just tough to do speed and
at the volume.
It's just tough to do speed and the volume on that level.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think hopefully Robert will be redeemed by the ones who don't like the episode as much. Me being one of them. But there was some great stuff in that episode. But
yeah, he has something to prove to us. He knows Star Wars.
No, I think we'll be very
the one
happy.
thing we'll say. I think so too. And even if we're not, who gives a shit? We got a great season. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay. How long? How long is it going to be? I'm hoping an hour.
If I'm being realistic, like with like the credit stuff at the end, I bet like an hour and 3 minutes.
That'd be awesome.
And then with the credits, so then it's
episode of season.
So then it's really like about 58 minutes of actual content.
But just of like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
some slow moments maybe.
Remember how he was describing the show as all killer, no filler? So we'll see. I think next week's gonna be insane. So
yeah, let's pray on it.
But yep.
I'm glad everyone could join tonight. Thank you so much, Eric. Obviously, maybe we'll even do some coverage right after it. I took off work the whole day, so I don't know. Probably
that'd be great
to go live after when I take off work from being sick. Would that be a good idea? You know, but in terms of next week, I'm excited. Everyone's going to be here for it, and you know, I hope everyone is ready to take it all in. Because I'm ready. I think it's going to be big. I'm so satisfied with this show. I'm very eager to see where it can go with a finale and where it could lead, post-credit scene or not. I'm happy. I've been very happy with this show. Way more than I thought I would be. And I mean that. My anticipation went to a whole new level. I think after the 4th episode, I was like, they're doing it. They're going to do this crazy thing at the end of all this. But Eric, what do we say at the end of a Bombadcast episode? I'm sure you're aware of this. Here we go.
I'd like to thank the Bombadcast for having me on, and stay Bombad.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Chucky. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it? Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? Disregard a broken bottle top
and a one-man soul.
gone for